We are happy that you are attending our workshop on Thinking in Dialogue, a project that focuses on strategies for enhancing cognitive skills in children and adolescents with CDD, congenital deafblindness. Let us first introduce ourselves.
So my name is Kim. I'm 28 years old. I'm a Dutch and Italian girl, and this is my PhD research, which I will present today. And I'm mid-length and I have dark blonde hair.
You don't, I think someone is not hearing very well, is that correct? Can you hear us now? Okay. So we have to speak a bit loud. Yes. So let me introduce myself. My name is Saskia Damen. I am blonde. I have blonde hair. I have brown eyes. I'm middle-aged. And I can also tell you that I work as a professor in deafblindness at the University of Groningen in the Netherlands. Research program I have there. I support researchers, PhD students. I also teach. The focus of my work is on learning and development of and my work builds on the work of Professor Marleen Jansen. And she did a lot of work, good work, on enhancing communication and supporting communication partners. So she developed focuses on communication, but has a broader focus. Because what we see is there are a lot of challenges and cognitive development. And I'm also interested not only in developing effective interventions, but also to study which elements contribute to the effects of interventions. So which elements are important, and I'm very interested in support strategies that partners can use. So partners, I mean parents, I mean teachers, and also caregivers. So we are going to present communication, and I think we all know what we mean with communication. But maybe also raises some question: what is cognition? And I'm a bit curious what you think. I'm curious what you think of when I mention the term cognition. What is cognition to your opinion? If somebody wants to say something, what do you think of when I say the words cognition? What comes up in your mind? Please raise your hand if you have an idea. Oh, yes.
Is it something to do with thinking and understanding abilities?
Yes. Thinking, understanding, very well. Yes. I'm glad you mentioned it. Yes, it's about thinking, it's about understanding, but it's also difficult to say, this is it, right? So you're really pointing out the correct things. So also when we talk about cognition, I think it's very important that we are clear about what we mean, and a definition can sometimes help. And I'm in this Nordic network on cognition in relation to deafblindness for many years now, and we made or developed a definition of cognition in 2014. And we say that cognition is a mental process aimed at understanding the world around us. or you can also say all mental processes aimed at understanding the world around us. That means it's about processing information, gaining information, understanding, thinking. All sorts of these processes are important, but also your memory, your attention, etc. What is also important in this definition, that we can observe cognition during goal-directed behavior. Because often we want to evaluate cognition, but then we need to kind of do something to evaluate it. And we said we can observe this, but you need to see goal-directed behavior and also realize that when you observe something, you're also interpreting something. So it's also your own understanding of cognition and also your understanding of that blindness that influences how you observe and evaluate cognition. And the third characteristic of this definition is that cognition is situational and behavior that indicates some kind of cognition according to you. So do you see cognition here, and which behavior indicates this according to you? Okay. Of this child, that tells you there's cognitive processes.
Okay, so as my mother, my support person described the video to me, so what I could understand is this child, they recognized a problem, quote unquote, and then tried to figure out step by step how to, quote unquote, overcome the problem rationally and by translating the reason into action and breaking down the problem into small bits and reaching the whole, thereby addressing the whole, quote unquote, problem as it were, or the situation as it were. I don't know if that is...
Yeah, very well explained.
Yeah, thank you.
You see clearly problem solving, but also these children with CDB also perform less pretend play. They have difficulties learning through social interaction. And for example, they often can't learn by observing others. And this is really an important way of learning for all of us. They also can't learn from overhearing other people's conversations. And that is also something that we learn a lot from. We hear other people talk about something and we can use that information. We also see that they have difficulties in identifying important characteristics of objects. So, we saw in the literature that there are many challenges, there are many delays in cognitive development, which is quite common in children with deaf blindness. But then we also saw that they need extra support. They are highly dependent on their partners. They're highly dependent on their parents, their teachers, their caregivers. And those people need to support them. For example, when you think about all the information they are missing, other people need to support that. They need to bring that information to them or make the world tactile. So, I have a question for you. Do you have experience with supporting cognitive skills in children? We will just continue then if no one wants to share. Because I think we can give you a lot of examples how to support this. That's why we did this study, obviously. And this, you can. So we will give you some answers about how you can support later by focusing on specific strategies. So I now give the word to Kim.
So, since children and youth with congenital blindness are more reliant on their caregivers, social partners in this learning experience, we wanted to develop a training for this, because it's also important to look at how can social partners then support persons with congenital blindness within learning experience. So that's what our research is actually about. It's called Thinking and Dialogue, and it's a training for social partners. And with social partners, we mean parents, teachers, and professional leaders. And what we try to do is to give training in stimulating cognition by using what we call cognitive support strategies. And we will come to this later on. So the aims of Thinking and Dialogue is to develop an intervention for caregivers, teachers, and parents. And what we try to do is testing the effectiveness of this intervention. So on the one hand, we wanted to try to test the effectiveness of the intervention on the use of the specific cognitive support strategies. So, what do caregivers learn after a training, for example? Which strategies do they use more or less? And on the other side, we want to see what is the effect of the intervention on the cognitive skills of the children with congenital blindness. So that is what Thinking and Dialogue is all about. I want to firstly tell you something about the research and the different phases, and then later on I'll give you more practical examples with pictures and video of the activities that we did during the research. We implemented 4 phases in this research. We always started with a baseline to see what is the situation, what type of interactions do we see, and we recorded this. After, we implemented 2 different intervention phases. First, an intervention phase focused on achievement, because it is of course important to first be goodly attuned to each other before you can work on, for example, the cognitive support strategies. And in the second intervention phase, we focused on training caregivers in the use of the different cognitive support strategies. After the 2 intervention phases, when possible, we did a follow-up to see what happens in the months after the intervention. So, like 2 to 3 months later, do the caregivers, for example, still use the strategies? Well, what do we see a few months later? I forgot to tell you something, sorry. The intervention consisted of several group sessions in which we sat down with all the caregivers, the teachers, the parents, and we explained some theories about where the strategies come from, about cognition, about interactions. Then after the group sessions, the caregivers, teachers, and parents, they got coaching on the job. And they got video feedback coaching. This means that a professional coach, which was already known by the caregivers and by the child, trained the caregivers with the videos, so they looked back to the videos that they made, and also coached them on the job. So they came during the activity to coach them while watching them. And during all the intervention phases, we made recordings of all the activities that we did. So, you may wonder what type of activities then did we do, and how did we develop these activities. Before and after the intervention, we performed some hands-on assessments with all the children. This provided us with some information about, for example, the developmental level of the child and the skills that we could see. Based on this assessment and based on the videos from the baseline phase, we actually developed personalized activities for each child and caregiver, and we really tried to make sure that the activities were adjusted to the skills of the child. You see here the picture of a zone of proximal development, meaning that the activity preferably would be difficult enough to stimulate a learning process, but also not too difficult as to discourage the child, for example. So we really try to adjust the activities to the children. Here you see 3 pictures of examples of the activities. So for example, the left one above you see a mother and her daughter. The daughter has Charge syndrome, and the activity that they did was a reading activity. They sat down together reading a book every week, and in the book all kinds of things happened. For example, somebody fell down and had to cry, or somebody was really happy, and the goal was to have conversations about emotions. On the right you see another girl with Charge syndrome. They also worked on emotions, but in a completely different way. With them we made 3 sheets. Every sheet was one emotion, so for example happy, sad or angry, and then she had all these small pictures with representing all types of emotions in different forms, and then they would they would see, okay, which picture fits where. So this is angry, so angry goes here, for example. And I actually have a video about this to show you later. And another example is, for example, a young boy with his teacher, and they worked on planning activities in the upcoming hour, and then knowing where to go, where the activity takes place, and which type of objects do we need for that activity. The cognitive support strategies that we train caregivers in are 10 different strategies. And I will explain these ones also based on the pictures that you see. So, for example, doing as an example. Doing an activity first to show how do you do something. Or in the first picture, you see here the professional caregiver that does an example. Represents the picture as an example. So she puts her hands up her head, just like in the picture, to show that, look, he does like this. Or for example, doing together. So the second picture, you see a cooking activity where they take all the ingredients together, they open and close together the milk, and all these kind of things. So tactily doing together. But also provoking a reaction. So for example, starting a routine and then suddenly stopping in the middle to see, does the child take over? Does the child show an initiative? Does it have an effect on the child? Then providing waiting time. So providing waiting time to process information, for example, but also providing waiting time to give the child the time to take an initiative, to do something independently. Or repeating a known action to make sure that the child understands something in the right way, to make sure that you provide the right information. But also, not only repeating an own action, but also repeating an action of the child. So repeating as a confirmation. To say, for example, hey, I saw what you did, by repeating, for example, the gesture or the action. And that is what you see in the pictures here. So the child makes a sign for angry or for sad, and the mother does the same thing to show, I saw that you made that sign, and I'm going to repeat it as a confirmation that I saw it. Then we have language input, so adding the right amount and the right forms of language, but also stimulating language, so stimulating that the child uses language. Giving compliments, we also included that one, as you see in the picture, because motivation to engage in the activity is of course also very important, so by giving compliments you can motivate. And finally, metacognitive strategies. So teaching the child that you can think about your own learning process. So these are the strategies that we trained our caregivers and teachers and parents in. And we made several videos of the activities. And I'm going to show you a small piece of video from this case. This is a girl with Charge syndrome. She is 26-year-old. She is deaf. She does have sight, but a restricted visual field. And she is functionally deafblind. What is very typical of this girl is that she needs a lot of processing time. So, as you will see in the movie later, things can go quite slow. She lives in a group setting for people with congenital deafblindness. She lives there with 3 others with congenital deafblindness, where they are taken care of by professional caregivers. And the movie that I will show you is a little piece of the activity about emotion. So together they look at all the small pictures of emotions. They mention what type of emotion it is, and then they place it on the right sheet. So angry goes with angry, sad goes with sad, and happy goes with happy. I'm gonna show you now the movie. There is no sound, but there are English subtitles, and they use some signs, but mostly about emotions. So the signs that they do use are mostly happy, angry, sad, and looking for example. It's 4 minutes. They communicate, will mostly be communicated through sign language, because she doesn't like to be touched. Okay, I will now show you the video, and maybe it would be interesting for you to, while looking, see if you can recognize any of the strategies that the caregiver uses during this video. So up until now, what they did is that the caregiver took one picture of sad and mentioned this is sad, and sad goes here, and this is angry, and angry goes here, and this is happy, and happy goes here. And then now she said, I'm gonna let her try it. So I'm gonna take one and show it to her. What do you see? Does she ask. Now the child looks away, seems to be processing, to be typical of her is also to be looking away when she processes information. The caregiver now nods approvingly. The child is putting one of the pictures on one of the sheets and taking another one. Child seems to be processing, smiles and looks at the caregiver who smiles back. Caregiver asks, what do you see again? What do you see? And the child starts to make the sign for angry and then starts signing sad, but waits a little bit. And then the caregiver said, crying, yes, that's right. And then the child places the picture on the sheet. So, did anybody see any strategies being used here? Yes.
There were some strategies seen, like giving an example just in the beginning, giving input with sign language, and when she tried on her own, giving a lot of time and repeating and saying, yes, that's right, so yeah, I think maybe more.
Maybe somebody else wants to add something?
It's matching the emotion with the words, the action, and reinforce.
I didn't understand the last thing you said, sorry. Reinforce it. Reinforce it? Yes. Yes. Somebody else wants to add? Yes, there?
The teacher has given a very good time to understand and respond.
Yes, very much time, right? Yes, yes. Thank you. Yeah, so everything you said is actually right. So first we saw that she did the activity as an example a couple of times. She provided a lot of waiting time for the process, but also to give her the space to take an initiative in the activity. We saw a lot of repeating her own actions, but also a lot of repeating as a confirmation. I don't know if you noticed, but every time the child made a sign, she repeated it as a confirmation. So she's kindly good attuned to this child, we might say. We also saw language input. Yeah, so everything you said was right. So this was was just a short piece of video. We made many of these videos and analyzed all these videos. But this is in short what we did within this research, and also how the caregivers were trained. So by watching back their own interactions in the videos, they analyzed which strategies they used, so they could see based on their own interactions, which strategy do I use, which seems to be effective, which strategies can I maybe use more, which maybe I have to do less. So this is the way we try to train the teachers in their interactions. So, to conclude, we are going to publish about this, so I hope in the upcoming time you also will be reading about this. But in short, which effects did we see? So strikingly, we saw effects already in the first intervention phase, which was the attunement phase. And during this attunement phase, we focused on interaction in general, but not specifically on this cognitive support strategy. So this is striking, but also in line with previous research. Because you saw this in previous research too, right? So focusing on interaction and training apparently already has some effects also in other intervention phases. Furthermore, we saw the strongest effects for provoking and language stimulation, and we also mostly saw a differential effect based on the different targeted strategies, because each caregiver also, based on their own recordings, had a personal goal to work on. So for example, if one teacher saw that they didn't stimulate language much, then their goal would be to stimulate language more. So of course, we would probably see some effects to that extent, whereas for other caregivers or teachers or parents, the goal could be something else. So we saw differential effects based on the different targeted strategies. And the differential use of the strategies, because of course it's all case studies and each child, each youth needs a different type of support. So we saw that with one child, some type of strategies were used much more than other type of strategies.
Can I also add, because the way you carry out the strategies, you apply the strategies, is totally different from one person to the other. That's important to also understand.
Exactly.
And sometimes you really need to find out what works best.
Exactly, yeah. And that is also the power of video feedback training, actually, because all the participants said that what they liked most was the video feedback training, because they could learn from their own interactions and see themselves back, which is really helpful.
I think we have maybe time for one question, because yeah? Is there someone who wants to ask something or comment, give a comment? No? Then I will just, oh yes, I see a hand there. I will walk to you with the microphone.
Thank you. After the presentation, I can understand that all the successful history or all the successful story of a disabled people, the contribution of their parents, their caregivers, their teachers, and some cooperative organizations are many. The contribution of there is very important to successful disabled person life. Thank you for a nice presentation, and thank you for giving me a chance to talk, to comment about that.
Thank you so much for giving this wonderful comment. Yes, because indeed that is also what we think that the partner.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Today I am going to present early intervention for children with deafblindness through early intervention for inclusive education and independence. Hello again, my name is Noor Sabah and I am from Sense International India. I work there as a trainer from capacity building team. First of all, I would like to say, just imagine the world without sight and hearing. Just close your eyes and think what is your observation when you do not have hearing and vision. Does somebody wants to like to share their experience when they do not have sight and hearing? Do you want to share your experience? Yes. No, anyone? Think? Yes, yeah. Just give the mic.
Thank you everyone. मलाई चाहिँ के लाग्यो भने म चाहिँ आँखा पनि बन्द अनि हेयरिङ पनि बन्द हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ दुवै कुरा बन्द हुँदाखेरि जो हामीले संसारबाट बन्द भएको आवाज भयो मलाई, किनभने अब संसार पनि देख्नु छैन हैन, अनि कुनै किसिमको आवाज पनि सुन्नु छैन। त्यो अवस्थामा एकदम शून्य भएको अवस्था भयो र मलाई लाग्यो कि डेफब्लाइन्डहरूको लागि पनि सायद यस्तै अवस्था हुन्छ होला भन्ने लाग्यो। अब यसलाई हामी कसरी अगाडि बढ्न सकिन्छ, यस्तो ब्लाइन्डनेसलाई कसरी हामी उहाँहरूको दैनिक जीवनलाई कसरी अगाडि बढाउन सकिन्छ होला भन्ने जस्तो एकदम कन्फ्युजन लाग्यो। धन्यवाद।
Thank you for sharing your experience. Does anybody wants to say anything? Yeah. For us, it's really difficult to think about this. But for persons with deafblindness, this is their reality. So deafblindness is a unique disability. It's a combination of vision and hearing loss. The degree of hearing loss. Next slide. Excuse me, ma'am. Thank you. Though the degree of hearing loss and the type of vision loss may vary, it's a dual sensory impairment because 95% what we learn is come through the sight and hearing. So in deafblindness, we affected our major senses, that is vision and hearing. So next slide. Challenges faced by persons with deafblindness. Some of the major challenges are limited sensory input. Our remaining 5% senses, we learn from those senses as the major of our senses are affected. So this significantly limits their interaction with the world around them and prevents them from gaining information through sight and sound. Next, delayed communication and development. Delayed communication for persons with deafblindness have a very challenging for them to express their needs, especially when we talk about children with deafblindness. It's become more harder for them to interact about the world, interact through the word about their feelings, their needs, their strengths, whether they want play, whether they had a pain in their body, whether they are feeling hungry, whether they want to sleep. So due to the delayed communication, they faces these many challenges. Delayed development is to a child who has not gained the developmental skills expected to her or him as compared to other of same age. These delays their development in many areas, including social, emotional skills, making it harder for them to develop bonding. And bonding is the most important thing for the person with deafblindness or children with deafblindness. So they also find difficulty in creating relationships, engaging with others. Next is social isolation. Because communication is hard for them or difficult to them, or there is a limited for them to communicate with others, they find difficulty in making friends, creating connection with the families, which can make them feel isolated from the world around them and also affect their emotions. Educational barriers. Children with deafblindness may get admission in a mainstream schools, but for them it's still hard to learn from the mainstream schools also, because the teacher may not know what are the adaptation they require, what are the adapted curriculum is required by the persons with deafblindness, how much the time they require to complete the activity, what are the special instructions they require to complete the task. So there is a lack of adaptation in inclusive educational also in terms of education. Yeah, next slide. Early intervention. So early intervention is providing services, intervention with the children with disabilities during the critical early ages, that is 0 to 6 years, when the brain is developing most. As soon as we provide interventions, services to the child, they can develop their skills in many areas such as sensory development, cognitive development, social, psychological and emotional skills also. Early intervention focuses on the need of the child and to support parents. The major impact of early intervention is enhanced communication. Early intervention helps children to start a learning way to communicate at a very young age, whether it's through babbling, gestures, body movement, simple touch signs. Children are begin to express their needs and feelings much easier. This helps them to connect with the world and start developing social skills. It promotes social and emotional development. Early intervention plays a big role in promoting social and emotional development. When the children start getting support from early, as they can learn how to communicate, which helps them to feel more confident. Being able to express themselves also make them easier for them to make bonding, connections, relationship and engage with the world around them. So it's very important to give as early as possible the child intervention. Next, it's improved mobility and motor skills. The team of multidisciplinary works together to help the child to learn the basic skills like sitting, crawling, walking, standing, balancing, and many more. The team work together so that children with disability can move around safely and explore their surroundings. It gives them more independence as they grow. It's promote inclusive education. Early intervention opens the door to inclusive education where the children with deaf blindness can learn alongside with their peers. With the right services, interventions, tools, they can participate in a group activities, share their experience, they can build their relationship with other peers, with their teachers or whatever who are present in their environment. Just like an other child, inclusive inclusion is not just being present. It's about learning, growing and thriving together. It's also fostering the independence and autonomy. Early intervention helps children with deaf blindness to learn skills they need to be independent. For example, independent in their daily living activities, daily cares like bathing, brushing, grooming, dressing and dressing, eating, going to the school. With the right support and the services, they can do things on their own. Like others people do, they can make choices, they can take care of themselves. This helps them to feel confident and capable, allowing them to live more independently as they grow. Areas to be focused in early interventions. So first is communication. Without communication, we all will not do anything. We can't learn anything. We can't do anything without communication. So we should help the child to find a way to communicate, whether it uses the simple signs, gestures, touches, real objects, pictures, or other modes of communication. We should use total communication for them. This helps them to express their needs and connect the world around them. Next is personal care. In first photo you can see the child is expressing his need as he is saying to his teacher, I want a small ball. He wants to play with a ball and he is saying he wants a small ball to play. Next is personal care skills. We should teach important skills like, as I told you, feeding themselves, dressing, undressing, taking care of their hygiene, washing hands before the food, after the food, the needs of toileting. These skills are the key for helping the children to become independent in their later life also. Here you can see the child is learning through the demonstration how to apply a powder on her face. So it's also come under ideal skill. Next is sensory development. We should help the child explore their senses, whether it's touch, smell, taste, sound, or sometimes the child may have sight. So to help them and understand with the world around them. It also supports the cognitive growth. Language development, motor skills, social interaction are allowing them to explore and and process the sensory information effectively. So it's very important to give the sensory stimulating activity to the child. Like as you can see here in the picture, the child is making dough with the concept of dry, wet, dry, wet, exploring with his hands and enjoying the activity. Next is cognitive development. We should help the children to learn how they think and how they can understand. Make the sense of the world using different games, activities that encourage the child to do problem solving, that encourage the child to learn from the toys and activities. Here you can see a very good color contrast on the table with a good contrast of flashcards, and child is telling what is in the picture. Next is motor and mobility skills. So we should teach the child like sitting, walking and standing, balancing, moving around safely to help the child move independently and explore their environment. As you can see here, the child is exploring the different textures which is on the place on his leg. So he is holding his teacher hand and exploring the different textures like from soft, hard, rough, smooth, and uses the trailing technique to go from one side to another side. Recreation and leisure. This is the most important techniques or area you can say in early intervention. Play plays an important role in learning. We can encourage the child to play, to do the activities in fun way, not just only teaching books, showing flashcards. We should teach the child in a playway method. Meanwhile, I would like to call my colleague Miss Bhavika Shah.
This is 1-year-old child. She has low vision and hearing impairment. Mild hearing impairment. Could you please keenly observe the video and then share your observations? It's okay, the video is... because the audio is not giving us support, what I suggest is that Noor and I will do a demonstration out here. You all observe us and then we'll discuss about it. I would request the videographer to please stop playing the PPT and focus on us. We are sitting down. The child has low vision, moderate hearing impairment. This is her type of deafblindness, and her attention span is very low. 3-year-old child. Hello, am I audible? From home. ये है ना, ये देखो 6 dots है. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. अभी है ना रखेंगे, okay? Are you ready? आंखें बंद करो and देखो क्या है ग्रीन बॉल गिर गया ले लो उठा हाँ उठा put yay good putting close the eyes shh open
Wow!
put oops throw get okay we'll play all right yes put good putting and yes put yay good putting okay अच्छा आपको एक्टिविटी चेंज करना है you want to change okay let us change now we will stop this stop okay let us stop this Alright, finish. अच्छा और खेलना है? You want more? Okay, finish. Alright. Finish activity. Finish. Alright. We'll stop the demo out here. Okay. We have lunch break also, so requesting you to please share.
Mic.
Yes. Please turn on.
So what I like is that I saw that caregiver introduced the activity, but then whenever the child introduced an initiative, then the caregiver would follow the child in that initiative.
Thank you. So she's saying the teacher, number one, introduced the activity, so clear communication. So some of the teaching strategies that we observed out here, as in when you all talk about it, we will also elaborate on it. So first is introducing or giving anticipation, giving clear communication what we are going to do. And secondly, that she focused on is following the lead of the child. A very important strategy with children is we have to keenly observe what the child is doing, pick up the cue from them and then follow them. So if they enjoy doing something different, which is a learning experience, make the most of the teachable moment and follow the child. And this will help build bonding. So there are many teaching strategies out here. So when we develop bonding, the child will be more comfortable to do and follow our lead later on when he or she has to learn even bigger concepts. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share the observations?
Hello.
What the child was doing, what the teacher was doing, any teaching strategy? Yes, sir.
I think thank you for sharing this wonderful activity. It was very powerful to observe it in the audience. I just made observation that you were giving the cues to the child and the attention was diverting to throwing the ball away, and then you took your attention over there, then you brought the attention back to the child, and you're sitting right in front of the child and the activity in the middle. Those are the observations I did, like managing the attention with cues.
Thank you so much. So, observing the child's cues and again following that, and wherever there is distraction, trying to manage it in a healthy way and bring the child back to the activity in a pleasant, happy manner. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Hello, thank you so much for this presentation and the activity. This is Bimal speaking from CBM Global. I wanted to know how do you teach any word or any very basic concept in the very beginning? For instance, that we observe you already taught something like the finished, go on, throw it, or something. How do you just teach this very basic concept in the very beginning?
Can I hold this question for some time and answer in some time so that we can just finish this observation related discussion? Is that okay with you? Yeah, okay, thank you. Alright. Any one more observation anyone would like to share? Okay, fine. So, I'll just talk about the various teaching strategies that we can use while working with them, and also to answer Sir's response is how do we teach from starting. So one thing, whenever the child touches something or does any kind of communication in his or her manner, it is important that we immediately give the appropriate communication to them. For example, if the child is throwing, so giving the language throw, the sign of throw and the word of throw. If the child is into sign language. But if the child is into picture communication, immediately showing the picture of throw and showing it to the child that what the child just did is throw. So this way we can, whatever the child is doing, be it in sign language or picture communication or object communication, we can replace it with an appropriate mode of communication so that the child gradually learns the correct way of expressing that. Okay? Like just yesterday there was this one child at the reception, he was touching the sofa, he was feeling the sofa. So we gave the sign of sofa. Then he was touching the window, so we gave the sign of window. So this way we were building his communication. Whatever he was interested in and exploring, we were giving the word for it. I hope that answers your question. So similarly, giving language when you are having you're giving bath to the child. So talk to the child about the body parts that you are touching. Rub, 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 rub your cheek. Rub, 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 rub the tummy. So give them the vocabulary for whatever you are doing with the child. Secondly, involve the child in the entire process, from beginning till the ending, from removing the toys from the cupboard, to doing the activity, to putting the cupboards back in the shelf. Involved in the complete activity so that the child knows that there is a place for everything, there is a beginning of everything, there is an ending of everything. Make them explore the same toys. You can also do different things with the same toy. It's not necessary that we have to only put. We can also play peekaboo. Where is Noor? Where is Noor? Where is Noor? Here is Noor. Where is Noor? Where is Noor? Where is Noor? Here is Noor. So this way also we can use the same toy in different ways. Then we can play the toy to catch and throw, to slide, to play cricket. So make the same toy can be used creatively in different ways. Give wait time, very, very important. Wait time is very important to process. If it is difficult for you to give wait time, in your mind count 1 to 30. In that much time, the child will get enough time to receive whatever the instruction, the communication is, to process it, and then to reply, to respond accordingly. So very important to give wait time. Many a times when we are doing activity or we are asking questions, Noor, what is this? Tell me, Noor, what is this? See, look, what is this? By the time the child is processing what is this, we have said so many words, Noor, look, what is this, Noor, see, that the child finds it very difficult to process the remaining words. Hence, it's important to give adequate wait time. Songs, so we do not need to be some singers for this. Simple things like a put activity, you can just make up your own song. As if you are doing a ring stand, imagine there's a ring stand in my hand and the activity is to remove and put. So in the beginning we can focus on the key communication word. Remove, 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 remove the rings, remove the rings, remover, remover. And then gradually we can take them to two-word communication. Remove, put, remove, put, remove, remove, put, remove, remove, put, remove, put. So this way also we can, through songs, through playing method, we can make the activity interesting and the child can simultaneously learn the key words. And then there is individualized education planning. A very important thing that we do with children, with people with deafblindness is that we make annual goals which is very personalized based on the individual likes, interests, strengths, age, milestones, and accordingly 22 areas such as fine motor, gross motor, leisure, recreation, cognition, sensory, various areas are covered, ensuring there is holistic development. And to support this, we also do theme-based learning. We take one theme, example shapes, and we use this across quarter, 3 months, and we reinforce the shapes in each and every activity we do. Like in this activity, we are reinforcing oval shape. And along with that, we do many other activities will reinforce oval shape accordingly. So now, I will request Noor to take it away.
Thank you, Bhavika ma'am, for sharing such a information. Let me share 2 real success stories that shows how early intervention and its strategy can change lives. First story is Ibrahim's journey. Next slide. Excuse me. Next slide. Ibrahim's journey before early interventions, a life of struggle and silence. Ibrahim is a 6-year-old boy from a village in Uttar Pradesh. He was born with congenital deafblindness. Before the intervention, Ibrahim faces several challenges. He needs support to sit, walk, eat, changing clothes, expressing his need and the need of toilet. He also struggled in organizing the object and the things and the person around him. He was unable to express what he felt, and which made him difficult to express her feelings, wants and needs. His interaction with the world were very limited. He faced barrier to move around his surroundings independently. Next slide. Turning point, new journey of success. In 2022, Our team of educators, therapists identify and assist his need and develop an intervention and improve his ability to move, to connect with the world, to create bonding, to develop relationship. The involvement of the family was crucial, ensuring that support was consistently applied both at home or at the center or school, which allow Ibrahim to make significant progress. Next slide. A remarkable journey. Through early intervention, Ibrahim made remarkable progress. He can walk independently, he can move around the world, he can recognize the things, peoples around him, and he is now confident to live an independent life. He actively explored his environment and engaging more with the world around him. Through individualized educational plan, multi-sensory approach and the inclusion of family members, Ibrahim's ability to communicate and interact with his environment has increased a lot. Next slide. So his parents had a dream that Ibrahim can become independent and living a fulfilling life on his own. Ibrahim's story shows how involvement of family and multidisciplinary team, individualized educational plans, therapies, interventions can make a big difference in a life of child's life. With the right support, children faces challenges can overcome them and their potential and reach their full potential. Next slide. So she is Asha. Asha's journey overcoming life challenges. Asha Patwal is an 18 years old young adult from a Rudra Pradap, Uttarakhand, was born with congenital cataract. At the age of 7, she lost her vision and hearing due to meningitis. This sudden change brought many challenges. Asha and her family had a hard time to accept every part of her life. Without her vision, ability to read, write become very difficult, and it's also become difficult to communicate. Without hearing and vision, Asha struggled with moving around the environment as she could not navigate her environment easily. She felt disconnected and isolated from the world. Next slide. Light after darkness, achievement and growth. So she got intervention at her early age. Through early intervention and the strategies like involving parents, multidisciplinary team interventions, therapies helped Asha to reach at that stage. Now she is studying in class 10 and Asha come a long way. Her vision and hearing may be limited, but she has excellent in her education and extracurricular activities. Asha's hobby including drawing, painting, dancing and sports. Asha has also achieved an impressive milestone such as she has attended international conference in the USA and win award in both sports and arts competition at the state level and at the national level. These testimony to Asha strengthen her hard work and unwavering support of her family and from the multidisciplinary team. Next slide. Now Asha has a dream of continuing her education and eventually pursuing a career where she can help others with disabilities. She inspires to contribute to society and inspires others with disability to follow their dreams just like she has. Asha's journey shows us with the intervention and right support, children with disability can achieve great things and become an active member of the society. Next slide. Early intervention strategies should have more play-based intervention. As my colleague Bhavika said, play-way method is the most important in the life of the child. When we talk about early intervention, all the teachers should teach in a play-way method. Play is not just fun, it's empowered the tool for children with disabilities or deafblindness to develop their cognitive, emotional and social skills. So here you can see a child is hammering the ball and enjoying the play. Next you can see there is a ball pool with the full of colors of balls, and the children with deafblindness is with her siblings and enjoying the ball play. Here in the next third photo you can see water play. The group of persons with children with deafblindness play and do many things like splashing the water, removing objects from the water, putting the objects in the water, removing the ring stand and putting in the water. So it's very important to do the activity in a play method when it comes to early intervention. In fourth slide you can see a child wants to catch by her trainer. I want to share some play like tactile play, as somebody has asked how we can teach. So tactile play like providing different textures, fabric, water, help them to recognize the object through tactile experience. We can also provide sensory play with sound and music, like tapping on the surface, play instruments, drum, tabla, whatever you have. If you have to bounce, you can play like this and give the auditory cue. For example, vibrating musical toy can help them to feel rhythm. If the child is not able to hear, they can feel the rhythm and vibrations. Interactive play, as you see in one video, there is a peekaboo. That play is encourage their cognitive development because it's need to hide, to remove, to open, and many things. It's also create the social interaction and help the child to understand cause and effect. There is a movement play, visual play, and there are so many plays we can teach the child during their early intervention. Next slide. We can create a world where all children, regardless of their disabilities, challenges, have an opportunity to success through early intervention and support. Thank you. If you want to share your experience during the early intervention, especially the ADBs want to share their experience during their early childhood, does anybody want to share? Or parents or teachers can also share their experience on early intervention. What are the strategies they use to teach the child during the childhood?
Hello everyone, I'm Rasmi Chaudhary. I've been working in Deafblind as home-based educators. Now I would like to call on stage again our main presenters, Saskia and Nursaba, to receive a token of love.
हेल्प गर्छ यसमा चाहिँ विभिन्न आफ्नो देशसँग सम्बन्धित भएर अल्फाबेट्सहरू युज गरेर बनाएर चाहिँ हामीले सञ्चार गर्न सक्छौँ र यसै गरी अर्को छ ब्रेल भनेको चाहिँ हाम्रो 6 डट जुन छ त्यो माध्यमबाट चाहिँ हामीले सञ्चार गर्न सक्छौँ लेखेर ब्रेल लेखेर पढेर चाहिँ सञ्चार गर्न सक्छौँ र अर्को छ ट्याडोमा यो भनेको चाहिँ हाम्रो एउटा विशेष खालको सञ्चार हो जुनमा चाहिँ बोल्ने व्यक्तिको फेस घाँटी र त्यसपछि ओठलाई छानेर चाहिँ हामीले छोएर फिल गरेर चाहिँ सञ्चार गर्न सक्छौँ उसले के भन्दैछ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ भन्छ र यसै गरी अर्को छ ह्यान्ड ओभर ह्यान्ड साइनिङ यो भनेको चाहिँ साइन ल्याङ्ग्वेजलाई चाहिँ स्पर्शको माध्यमबाट चाहिँ सञ्चार गर्ने सिम्बल छुट्टै राखेको हुन्छ यो चाहिँ टेन्जेबल हुनुपर्छ यसै गरी स्कुल छ भने यसको छुट्टै सिम्बल राखेको हुन्छ हो यही सिम्बलहरूलाई छोएर पनि हामीले चाहिँ सञ्चार गर्न सक्छौँ र अर्को छ हामीसँग अर्को भिजुअल कम्युनिकेसनभित्र चाहिँ हामीले यो चाहिँ केही मात्रामा भिजन भएकाहरूको लागि युज गरिन्छ र यसमा चाहिँ पहिलो उसमा छ लिप रिडिङ यसले चाहिँ जो व्यक्ति बोलिरहनु भएको छ उसको चाहिँ लिपको मुभमेन्टहरू ओठको मुभमेन्टहरू चाहिँ हेरेर चाहिँ उसले के बोल्दैछ भनेर थाहा पाउनु त्यसरी सञ्चार गर्नुहुन्छ र अर्को छ पिक्चर एन्ड सिम्बल हामीसँग भएको पिक्चर्सहरू देखाएर सिम्बल्सहरू देखाएर गरिने सञ्चार र अर्को छ भिजुअल फ्रेमिङ साइनिङ यो भनेको चाहिँ हाम्रो साउन्ड डिस्टर्बिङ भएका बालबालिकाहरूसँग विभिन्न खालको भिजनहरूमा प्रब्लम जस्तै लो भिजन हुन्छ साइड भिजन हुन्छ टनल भिजनहरू अन्य हुन्छ यो भिजनहरूमा चाहिँ कुन साइडमा उसको भिजन छ त त्यही साइडमा चाहिँ फ्रेममा बसेर गरिने साइनलाई नै भिजुअल फ्रेम साइन भनेर भनिन्छ र यसै गरी अर्को छ अडिटरी कम्युनिकेसन यसमा चाहिँ स्पिच यदि कसैको चाहिँ सुन्ने केही क्षमता बाँकी छ भनेदेखि चाहिँ उसँग चाहिँ ठुलो आवाजमा बोलेर गरिने सञ्चार र यसै गरी एसिस्टिभ लर्निङ डिभाइस यो भनेको चाहिँ हामीले विभिन्न मान्छेको मुखमा नभएको विभिन्न मेटेरियल्सहरू युज गरेर गर्ने जस्तै साउन्डलाई ठुलो साउन्डमा कन्भर्ट गर्ने डिभाइसहरू हुन्छ त्यो माध्यमहरू युज गरेर गरिने सञ्चार र अर्को छ विभिन्न एडिसनल सिचुएसनहरूमा यिनीहरूमा चाहिँ माथि छुटेका कुराहरू हुन्छन् जस्तै टेक्नोलोजीहरू विभिन्न संसारमा विभिन्न टेक्नोलोजीहरू आएको छ जसले चाहिँ हियरिङ जस्तै हाम्रो हियरिङ एड्सहरू युज गरेको हुन्छ या एम्प्लिफाइड साउन्डहरू युज गरेको हुन्छ यिनीहरू युज गरेर गरिने सञ्चारहरू टेक्नोलोजीहरूमा परेको हुन्छ र यसै गर्नु भनेको छ इन्भाइरोमेन्टल मोडिफिकेसन भनेको डेफलाइन भएका बालबालिकाहरू छन् र उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ सञ्चार गर्न गाह्रो हुन्छ कसरी गर्ने भन्दाखेरि केले अवरोध गरिरहेको छ वातावरणमा जस्तै हामीहरूको चाहिँ लाइटले इफेक्ट गरिरहेको छ कि या अथवा हामी पोल्युसन मिलेको छैन कि या हाम्रो बोल्दा पछाडि बोल्ने व्यक्तिको भन्दा पनि पछाडिबाट ठुलो साउन्डहरू आइरहेको छ त्यो कुराहरूलाई चाहिँ म्यानेज गर्नु हामी इन्भाइरोमेन्टल मोडिफिकेसनबाट राखेका छौँ र यसै गरी छ अर्को इन्डिभिजुअल प्रिफरेन्स हामीले चाहिँ व्यक्तिमा भर गर्ने कुरा उसको प्रिफरेन्स के छ त त्यसमा चाहिँ काम गर्ने कुरालाई हामी इन्डिभिजुअल प्रिफरेन्स र अब यो विभिन्न मोड्स अफ कम्युनिकेसनमा तपाईँहरूलाई भने त यो मोड्स अफ कम्युनिकेसन गर्यो भने चाहिँ फाइदाहरू के छ त बेनिफिट्सहरू के छ त भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो डाइरेक्ट एक्सेसिबल भनेको जो व्यक्ति डेफलाइन हुनुहुन्छ उहाँलाई चाहिँ डाइरेक्ट सञ्चार गर्न सजिलो हुन्छ ऊ चाहिँ जसरी हामी अहिले एक्सेसिबल सबैलाई पहुँच हुनुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा छ यो पहुँचयुक्त बन्न जान्छ यो उसको लागि फाइदा हुन्छ र यसै गरी अर्को पर्सनालिटी यो भनेको चाहिँ उसले यो विभिन्न माध्यमहरू विभिन्न सञ्चार माध्यमहरू प्रयोग गरेपछि चाहिँ उसले आफूलाई चाहिने के हो त्यो अनुसारले चाहिँ उसले फाइदा पाउन सक्छ व्यक्त गर्न सक्छ उसलाई के चाहिएको छ त्यो अनुसारले आफ्नो पर्सनलाइज गरेर व्यक्त गर्न सकिन्छ र अर्को इम्पावरिङ भनेको हाम्रो डेफब्लाइन्ड खबरलाई चाहिँ सबैजनासँग सञ्चार गर्न सकिन्छ इन्डिपेन्डेन्टली उसले आफ्नो कुरा व्यक्त गर्न सकिन्छ र अर्को छ इन्डिपेन्डेन्सी आफू यी माध्यमहरू यदि म यहाँ छु र तपाईँहरूसँग बहिरा व्यक्ति हुनुहुन्छ भनेदेखि यदि मैले साइन ल्याङ्ग्वेज सिकेको छु र मैले त्यो साइन ल्याङ्ग्वेज गरिरहेको छु भने उसको लागि अर्को व्यक्ति आवश्यक हुँदैन ऊ इन्डिपेन्डेन्ट हुन्छ उसले पनि सबैजनाले सबैले चाहिने भाषा सिक्यो जस्तै म यहाँ अहिले नेपालमा छु म नेपालीमा बोलिरहेको छु यसरी यहाँ सबैजना विभिन्न देशहरूबाट आउनु भएको छ उहाँको सबैको भाषा यदि मैले सिकेको छु भनेदेखि म डाइरेक्ट उहाँहरूसँग कम्युनिकेसन गर्न सक्छु मेरो लागि अरू कोही व्यक्ति दोस्रो व्यक्ति आवश्यक हुँदैन र यसै गरी चाहिँ अर्को एक्सेस टु एजुकेसन एन्ड इम्पावरमेन्ट यसरी सञ्चार गर्न सिक्यो भनेदेखि चाहिँ हामीले शिक्षा पाउन सकिन्छ र रोजगार पनि पाउन सकिन्छ र अर्को छ इन्हान्स सोसल इन्क्लुजन यसले गर्दाखेरि यदि सञ्चार गर्न सिक्यो भनेदेखि जुनसुकै ठाउँमा जानुहोस् जुनसुकै सोसाइटीमा जानुहोस् जुनसुकै प्रोग्राममा जानुहोस् तपाईँ सजिलैसँग घुमिर्न सक्नुहुनेछ तपाईँ पछाडि पर्नुहुन्न र अर्को चाहिँ फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी आफ्नो कम्युनिकेसनको मोडहरूलाई युज गरेर ठाउँ अनुसारले आफूलाई ढाल्न सक्नुहुनेछ र अर्को चाहिँ एक्सेसिबिलिटी हाम्रो भनेको चाहिँ सबैजनालाई पहुँचयुक्त बनाउन सकिन्छ जुन हाम्रो फाइदाको कुरा हो र यसै गरी चाहिँ पर्सनलाइजेसन यसले चाहिँ इन्डिभिजुअल स्पेसिफिक भएर आफूलाई कुन मोड्स अफ कम्युनिकेसन युज गर्न सकिन्छ त्यो एउटा छानेर नै सञ्चार गर्न सकिन्छ अर्को छ इन्गेज सोसल इन्टरेक्सन जुनसुकै कार्यक्रमहरूमा जाँदाखेरि सोसलाइज हुनको लागि सजिलो हुन्छ र प्रत्येक व्यक्तिसँग चाहिँ हामीले सञ्चार गर्न सकिन्छ र अर्को चाहिँ इम्प्रुभ एक्सेस टु इन्फर्मेसन हामीले चाहिँ इन्फर्मेसनहरू लिनको लागि सजिलैसँग इन्फर्मेसन लिन सकिन्छ इन्हान्स सेन्स अफ सेल्फ आफ्नो सेन्सको चाहिँ कुरा चाहिँ आइडेन्टिटीको लागि आफ्नो सेल्फ उसको लागि चाहिँ हामीले सञ्चारबाट गर्न सकिन्छ र अर्को चाहिँ ग्रेटर सेल्फ सफिसियन्सी यसले पनि विभिन्न टेक्नोलोजीहरूको माध्यमबाट हामीले सञ्चार गर्न सिक्यौँ भनेदेखि आफ्नो बारेमा चाहिँ भन्नको लागि सजिलो हुन्छ र अर्को छ इम्प्रुभ क्वालिटी अफ लाइफ सबैजनासँग सजिलैसँग सञ्चार गर्न सक्यो भने हामीहरूको जीवन यतिकै पनि राम्रो हुनेछ अर्को छ इन्क्रिज पार्टिसिपेसन र यसमा अब हामीले यो कम्युनिकेसनलाई कसरी राम्रो बनाउने त र डेफब्लाइन्ड भएका बालबालिकासँग सम्बन्ध कसरी राम्रो बनाउने त भन्दाखेरि यी कुराहरूसँग अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ डेफब्लाइन्डनेस डेफब्लाइन्ड भएकाहरूको बारेमा बुझ्ने उनीहरूलाई थाहा पाउने उनीहरूको बारेमा थाहा पाउने र कम्युनिकेसन मेथड्सहरूको बारेमा जानकारी दिने र अर्को बिल्डिङ स्ट्रङ रिलेसनसिप उनीहरूसँग चाहिँ पहिलो राम्रो सम्झेर र अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ डेफब्लाइन्डनेसमा चाहिँ एजुकेट योरसेल्फ पहिला आफूलाई चाहिँ एजुकेट गर्नुहोस् डेफब्लाइन्डनेस के हो भनेर थाहा पाउनु हो यसको प्रकारहरू के हुन्छ यो थाहा पाउनुपर्ने हुन्छ जसले गर्दाखेरि डेफब्लाइन्डसँग कम्युनिकेट गर्न सजिलो हुन्छ र अर्को चाहिँ रिकगनाइज इन्डिभिजुअल डिफरेन्सेस प्रत्येक डेफब्लाइन्डको प्रत्येक कुराहरू के छ त उनीहरूको डिफरेन्सेसहरू के छ यो थाहा पाउनुपर्ने जसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ सञ्चार गर्न सजिलो हुन्छ र अर्को चाहिँ इन्डिभिजुअल पेसेन्सी हामीसँग चाहिँ पेसेन्स हुनुपर्छ धैर्य हुनुपर्छ डेफब्लाइन्डसँग त हामीले फटफट बोले जस्तै गरेर केही छैन उनीहरूको आफ्नो इन्डिभिजुअल पर्सनसँग चाहिँ हेरेर धैर्यता भएर उनीहरूसँग बुझेर कुरा गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ र अर्को छ टेक्सटाइल साइन यो भनेको चाहिँ हामीले साइन ल्याङ्ग्वेज कम्युनिकेसन मेथडमा छ टेक्सटाइल साइनिङ यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले अघि नै पनि भन्यौँ टेक्सटाइल साइन गर्ने स्पर्श सञ्चार गर्ने र प्रिन्ट अन हात हत्केलामा लेखेर गर्ने क्लोज साइन अघि जसरी भनेको छ उसको साइड भिजन कतातिर छ लो भिजन छ साइड भिजन छ कुन छ त्यो अनुसारमा बसेर गर्ने यसरी विभिन्न विभिन्न टेक्नोलोजीहरू युज गरेर सञ्चार गर्छ र भिजुअल एड्स यसरी लो भिजनको छ भने विभिन्न भिजुअल एड्सहरू प्रयोग गर्नुपर्ने छ भने त्यो मेथडहरू प्रयोग गर्ने अर्को छ बिल्डिङ स्ट्रङ रिलेसनसिप अब सम्बन्ध बलियो कसरी बनाउने त भन्दाखेरि फर्स्टमा स्ट्यान्स ट्रस्ट। पहिला डेफब्लाइन्डसँग चाहिँ हामीहरूसम्म उसले हामीलाई विश्वास गर्ने वातावरण बनाउनुपर्छ जसले गर्दा ऊ हामीसँग कम्युनिकेट गर्न चाहोस्। र यसै गरेर एक्टिभ लिसनिङ, उसले के भन्न खोज्दैछ पहिला त्यो हामीले उसको कुरालाई सुन्नुपर्छ, उसले भन्न खोजेको कुरालाई बुझ्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। र यसै गरेर चाहिँ क्लियर एन्ड कन्सेन्ट कम्युनिकेसन, यो भनेको चाहिँ हामीले उसँग सिम्पल ल्याङ्ग्वेजमा बोल्ने फास्ट वर्ड, उसको क्षमता अनुसारको वर्डहरू चाहिँ प्रयोग गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। रेस्पेक्टफुल टच, हामी टेक्टाइल साइन ल्याङ्ग्वेजहरू युज गरिरहेको हुन्छ, यो बेलामा चाहिँ उसँग टच गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। यसरी नै टचलाई चाहिँ रेस्पेक्टफुल्ली राम्रोसँग छोएर सञ्चार गर्नु। अर्को पेसेन्जरले चाहिँ हामीसँग चाहिँ धैर्य हुनुपर्छ उनीसँग साइन कम्युनिकेसन गर्नुको लागि। र अर्को छ क्रिएट अ कम्फर्टेबल इन्भाइरोमेन्ट, हामीले चाहिँ एडिसनल टिप्सहरूमा चाहिँ क्रिएट अ कम्फर्टेबल इन्भाइरोमेन्ट, हामीले उनीहरूसँग सञ्चार गर्नको लागि पहिला इन्भाइरोमेन्ट वातावरणलाई राम्रो बनाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ जसले गर्दा सञ्चार गर्न सकियोस्। अर्को छ अफर सपोर्ट एन्ड इन्करेजमेन्ट, हामीले चाहिँ उनीहरूलाई आफ्नो भएको कुराहरूलाई चाहिँ व्यक्त गर्नको लागि भनिरहनुपर्छ र उनीहरूलाई इन्करेज गरिरहनुपर्छ ताकि उनीहरूले हामीसँग सञ्चार गरोस्। अर्को रेस्पेक्ट देयर इन्डिपेन्डेन्स, हामीले उसको चोइस, उसको इच्छाहरू, उसको डिसिजन्सहरूलाई पनि रेस्पेक्ट गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। खालि आफ्नो मात्र हो, मेरो मात्र भनेर भन्नु कुरालाई दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ। अर्को चाहिँ सिक गाइडेन्स फ्रम एक्सपर्ट, हामीले चाहिँ यदि डेफब्लाइन्ड सम्बन्धित मान्छेहरू प्रोफेसनल हामीभन्दा पनि विज्ञहरूसँग कसरी सञ्चार गर्दा ठिक हुन्छ भनेर उनीहरूसँग पनि हामीले कन्सल्ट गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। अर्को छ आस्क द इन्डिभिजुअल हाउ दे प्रिफर टु कम्युनिकेट, पहिला डेफब्लाइन्डसँग सोध्नुपर्ने हुन्छ हामीले उसलाई कुन चाहिँ भाषा प्रयोग गर्दा सजिलो हुन्छ। अर्को चाहिँ बी पेसेन्ट एन्ड टेक केयर टाइम, पहिला पेसेन्ट हुनुहोस्, धैर्य गर्नुहोस् र बिस्तारै समय लिँदै उनीहरूसँग सञ्चार गर्नुहोस्, नहतारी। स्पिक क्लियरली एन्ड स्लोली, राम्रोसँग सफा गरी बिस्तारै सञ्चार गर्नुहोस्। यो जेस्चर एन्ड फेसियल एक्सप्रेसन, हामीले चाहिँ हाम्रो बडी ल्याङ्ग्वेजहरू, फेसको एक्सप्रेसन्सहरू पनि प्रयोग गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। रिपिट योरसेल्फ इफ नेसेसरी, यदि आवश्यक पर्छ भने दोहोऱ्याएर पनि हामीले उनीहरूसँग सञ्चार दोहोऱ्याएर भनिरहनुपर्ने हुन्छ। अर्को छ रेस्पेक्टफुल एन्ड अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ, रेस्पेक्टफुल हुनुहोस्, उसले के भन्न खोज्दैछ उसको कुरालाई बुझ्न कोसिस गर्नुहोस्, उसलाई चाहिँ सम्मान गर्नुहोस्, उसँग कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ हेर्ने बारा चाहिँ नगर्नुहोस्। यो कुराहरू चाहिँ मैले यो प्रिफरेन्सबाट चाहिँ रिफरेन्सबाट लिएको कुराहरू हो। आजलाई मेरो कम्युनिकेसनको यो पार्ट सकिएको छ। थ्याङ्क यू। अब तपाईँहरू
It is very nice to follow after you because I think I'll just build upon what you said. I am a development consultant at the Center for Sensory Loss in Denmark. And one of my topics is tactile language. And today we are going to have a little different perspective on communication that we have had in previous presentations, because now we're going to look at communication and language from the person, the deaf artist. And I need to raise my voice, okay? But before we start, I would like all of you to I will share an experience that I had in Kathmandu this week, because I visited the Patan temple and I went to the museum and I learned that the different gods in Hindu and Buddhism, they have different hand poses. They have different body poses and leg poses and head poses. They have different poses and each pose means a thing. So I want you to keep that in touch, that in mind when I start to talk about this tactile language, that each pose has a meaning. Right? Og så ved jeg ikke med jer, men i Danmark der er det sådan, at for 11 år siden Oh, you don't understand me. I'm sorry. It is just, what happens when the language doesn't really fit. So now I had a very, very low readability to you because you didn't understand me. Maybe you were a little bit uncomfortable. So this is the presentation also talking about. So what I'm saying is that I don't know about you, but in my country, in Denmark, it is only 11 years ago since sign language was recognized as a Danish language. It's 11 years ago. And it was included in the Danish legislation. Before that, it was considered as a natural language. And then I came to think about another natural language, namely the tactile language. The language from people with congenital deafblindness, the language from within. How about that? Is it recognized as a language or not? And what is a language? What defines a proper language? Next, please. No. Oh, you were way ahead of me. Okay. The UNCRPD states that language includes spoken and sign languages and other forms of non-spoken languages. And in Denmark we have this Danish professor in linguistic and cognitive science. His name is Mikkel Valentin, and he says that we typically consider modern language as a system of different components or entities that can be organized and put together in new and creative manners. And so with language we can say a lot of different things, and it gives us a very effective way to communicate. And he says that, for instance, in spoken languages, the natural sounds, the phonemes, are combined in different manners and are called words. And they are very arbitrary and symbolic in the understanding that they have nothing to do with the thing that they kind of symbolize. For instance, the word horse has nothing to do with the animal whatsoever. It's a little different in sign language. A lot of the sign language signs are iconic and kind of gives a picture of what you're talking about. Sign language is maybe more complex than the spoken language. It's more advanced. You can talk about several things at the same time. And Mikkel Valentin says that language comes in many forms, and not only as sounds or in a specific order, as we typically call language. And he also said there is no language that is better than the other one. If it does its job, it is a good language. So if we can use it to communicate, it is doing its job. So stick to that one. And then again, I thought about this tactile language. So how can this language be a good language? And how can we recognize it as a language? And then, please, we have a challenge, because it is well known that low readability challenges people with congenital deafblindness. And here, congenital deafblindness in this understanding is when deafblindness has occurred by birth or right after. So before the conventional language has become available for them. Because their communicative expressions for an untrained eye can be very difficult to read. If you don't know what to look for, it can be very hard to understand. And thus, they are in the risk of experiencing isolation, and often they are also labeled as non-language users. So we need to find some ways to support the new language, this new language, so it is not as difficult so it is easier to read, so it's not so difficult to read. And we need to practice how to sense and see the language, because it is a language that emerged from within the body. Next, please. So, the Nordic Network on Tactile Language, which I'm a part of, we published the book in 2019, and we were inspired by a phenomenologist called Rally Conti and his understanding that the bodily engagement in the world is the basis for understanding and realization about the world. And now this morning Saskia and Kim talked about cognition and the way they also define cognition as something you have to learn through the way that you process the world. A Danish philosopher, Peter Kemp, he said that you need to sense the world before you can act in it. And what he meant was that we need to sense and perceive the world to understand it and to speak about it. Because for him, speaking is an action. So to communicate is to act, to use language is to act, because when we communicate, we use some kind of language, cultural or conventional language, body language, as Kumara said before, but also, I suggest, a natural language that emerged from our enactment in the world. It's a basic understanding that language emerged in complex interactions between two or more communication partners, and that these interactions are independent of context. Next, please. So if we look a little into the body engagement in the world, tactile understanding, language takes its departure in the bodily engagement in the world, and we have to focus on the tactile sense, the balance, the kinesthetic and the proprioceptive senses, or you could say touch, movement, and how muscles and joints work. It is an awareness that we as teachers and communication partners need to provide, that we need to provide access to the world. And when we begin, as we as humans, as we as humans begin to sense and perceive the world, we can communicate it. We need to sense it before we can communicate about it. And a Nordic colleague of mine, she's a linguist in Iceland, she said, it is very simple. A child senses something, and then they want to talk about it. I guess it's for all of us. We have sensed something, and then we want to share it with someone. It applies to everything. Next, please. So we have this line or chain. I think we should think of sense, perceive, act, share, and co-create. Because Dr. Pokhara said that co-creating new languages in the tactile medium, language that emerge from the contributions of both partners and are rooted in the cultural experiences of both partners. And here he emphasizes that language is not something we give to people with congenital deaf blindness. Language emerged between us, and both parties have to contribute to this process. It also means that both parties, both contributions have equal value, and they are in a dialogue. Next slide. So, the Nordic network put a definition on tactile language as a language used by people with congenital deaf blindness. It is an authentic, natural language from within, based on the bodily engagement in the world, and it is through the tactile, the kinesthetic, and the proprioceptive senses. Next slide. So I want to go back for the learnings from the pattern temple in Kathmandu, because if we think that different hands, body and feet and head poses have different meanings, we are very, very close to the knowledge of sign language grammar, because it says that a sign is recognized by a hand position, a hand pose, a location, and a movement. Next. So, and what is a sign? Also says that a sign has to be perceived by someone in order to be a sign. So again, there's two people connected here. Someone who produces a sign and someone who reads it and responds to it. I think you have, can you get that a little? Yeah, thank you. Next, yeah, okay. So, I think that's good. The next one. I just need to be aware where I was in my text, I'm sorry. So, when we talk about a tactile language, we need to put on our language glasses. We need to change a perspective. And when we put on our language glasses and give body tactile utterances a linguistic value, we can communicate with people with congenital deafblindness in a linguistic manner. Next, please. So what can it mean to put on the language glasses? We can see the different linguistic categories that the person is using to form an utterance. We can be aware of the combination of several modalities that the person is using to form an utterance. And we can have an awareness on how the person is using his or her signing space to form the utterance. Own positions, other persons' object spaces. And we can also be aware if this is a kind of a structure, a syntax. So if we think of tactile signs as something that really exists, we can say that a tactile sign might have some of the same elements as a sign language sign. It has a pose, it has a location, and probably it also has a movement. For example, yesterday I saw a young boy. He did like this. So if we cut it down, what do we see? We see a form, a pose. We see a location, and we see a movement. So we could see it as behavior, or we could see it as a sign, as a tactile language. He's probably telling something. He was directed to his mom, and she was very occupied by something else, but then she also, all of a sudden realized that he did something, and she picked him up. And then I would say he had a very good language, because he was read and understood by his mom. Please pick me up. Right? Next slide, please. In the book, if you can see it, you can support it. We introduce a kind of survey model that includes everything we talk about when we talk about a tactile language. And we have used the model to look through different videos, a lot of videos, to see if it's true. Can we really talk about a tactile language? So I'm going to just give you some clues that what we can look for. Next slide, please. For instance, we can look for the tactile exploration and categorization of the child. So how does the child explore the world? How does the child use his body when he explores something? How does the child manipulate with stuff? What entities are the most interesting things to the child? Is it the lid of a bottle, or is it the bottle itself? Or is it what you can do with the bottle, or is it what the bottle contains? In what is the context or the scenario where it happens? And who was present together with the child? These elements are very important. I'm just going to show you some small pictures from a video. The video is very long, so I have just cut out some elements. It is an experience with a water balloon. We are meeting Kim, a young girl with Cornelia-Delany syndrome. She has she's very hard of hearing. She normally wears hearing aids, but she doesn't wear it at this moment. And she can see face expressions within and read signs within 1 meter. Yeah. So here her partner Karina and Kim are playing with water balloons, and it pops and she gets wet, and as you see at the third picture, she also gets very, very surprised and maybe a little scared. What was that weird thing that happened to me? But then they start to share the emotion. Karina, the partner, is emotional attunement to her. She kind of mirroring Kim's expressions, and she starts to rebuild up the trust, because I think the trust had broken down a little. Next, please. Then Kim starts to tell a story using her gestures, and you see Karina is clapping, and the girl is doing like this, and then she does like this. So if we put on the language glasses, we would say that she tells how the water hit her and in her face, and that she got wet. Next, please. Telling stories about gestures still. She looks down into her t-shirt, and then she does like this, rub her eyes again, saying, I also got wet here. And the partner replies, addresses her and says, yes, you got wet here. And then they share emotions using the gestures. I got surprised. This was really exciting. And then she does something very interesting, because then she changes her hand position and she puts her finger in her mouth. And we analyze it that she is categorizing the water as wet, because when you stick your finger in your mouth, it is wet. So I got surprised when it was wet, she said. So, to sum up, what do we know about language use for the future support? If we take on the language classes, we can see that people with congenital deafblindness sense and experience something, and then they want to share it. Their language is multimodal. They use bodily, tactile, visual, and auditive expressions. They combine different linguistic categories in one utterance or action. For instance, she said wet here, that is one kind of category, and then she did the comparison with the finger, that is another kind of category. The children uses, the utterances are often a part of a whole scenario, and they can create their own narrative about something what happened. They use their muscle and joint tension to emphasize the emotional experiences. The little guy I saw yesterday, he started like this, and when the mom didn't pay attention to him, he was a little more tensive. So I really mean it, pick me up please, right? The most significant impression is typically expressed first, so that is the first sentence or the first sign in the sentence, the most significant one. And even though that they use some conventional signs, they tend to use the bodily tactile language repertoire when something is very important to them. To sum up, I have to support it, and I think it is a copy, or what Karuna just said. So if we need to support the language, we need to be sensorily accessible to the person. They need to be able to read and hear us, see and hear us. Making language accessible for both parties So when we put on our language, because we do that, we offer a sign or a word for their expression. It also has to be in the same sensory modality as they use. We need to provide time and space for breaks, pauses, and reflections. We need a tactile and multimodal reciprocity to imitate, to let the child know that we know what he knows. We need tactile repetition and recycling within the variations so that we can expand on the sign. We need preparation. We need to co-construct, reconstruct, and joint processing to make the sign sustainable. Next, please. We need to shift between conversation and activity space. So, because we often, when we are tactile, we use our hands both to explore and do stuff, but also to talk to. So we have to change between different spaces because it's hard to talk and do stuff with your hands at the same time. We need to be use bodily involvement to reinforce and sustain the experience, and we need to elaborate the story. Next, please. It's the survey model again that you can use looking for the tactile language from within. And the last one, please. Because I just want to sum up, if we think as tactile language as a first language, it is a language used by people with congenital deafblindness, an authentic natural language from within, based on the bodily engagement in the world. It's a language that needs to be supported. It is a language to communicate with, and if it works, it is a good language. So you could say if someone understands you,
Finding the possibilities through assistive technology with Mr. Chubby Allen. It's coming up. Chubby Ali is from Nepal.
Okay, good afternoon to you all. Thank you very much, the chairperson. First, before beginning my presentation, I'd like to ask you that this is my first attempt to present in English, so I would like to apologize for my mistake in advance. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. This is me, Chubby Ali. I'm the General Secretary of Nepal Association of the Blind, Gandhari Province. It is one of the province of federal Nepal, and I'm going to present here in the topics finding the possibility of life through assistive technology. Yeah. Nowadays we are in the I'm just making my... Okay, yeah. Nowadays, we are in the technological era. Our very difficult problem of ours can be solved by AI, or artificial intelligence. Before beginning my presentation, I want to remember my previous generation, my relative sister of my father, who was born in the same place as mine as a visually impaired. She's already passed away. but she didn't get an opportunity to live as she wants, and also she didn't die as she wants. She only do few work around the house, and she's lived with discriminated. And she was died earlier, but now you're looking at me. I'm living, I'm present, I'm living, I'm doing everything like yours. I'm talking to you. Either you are from any country. I'm presenting here today now in international language because I have technology and education. You see, the power of technology, the power of education from me, myself. Me, born from the lower middle family, can talk to you and can present in front of you with the help of the technology. Yes, as I already mentioned that we are in the age of artificial intelligence. The people, everything can be easy due to the technology. But I always say the technology make persons without disability just easy. But for persons with disability, it makes our life possible. Are you agree with that point? Yes. But for persons with disability, it makes our life possible. So that, and also I want to share you that 60 to 70% of the barriers of our life can be solved by using technology or the assistive technology. Yeah. Now I want to move to the introduction slide. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just, yeah, okay. The application of organized knowledge and skills related to the assistive products, including system and services. This is the definition given by WHO in terms for the terminology assistive technology. Similarly, we have a Nepali regulation, the regulation on relating to the rights of persons with disability 2007. It says assistive devices are those materials, equipments and technology used by persons with disability in daily life. So this shows that this all the definition and the things that I've mentioned earlier state that for the persons with disability, assistive technology is not just a tool to make easier, it makes our life possible. Yeah. So next slide. Importance of assistive technology. I will try to end my presentation very fast, so that I've just 7 slides for the visually impaired. I just have 7 slides, and now I'm in the 3rd slide. Importance of assistive technology. Empower our persons with disability to live independently. Yeah. Assistive technology is the tools for our independence. Here, I'm reading, I'm using my computer, and I'm presenting to you. I'm talking to you, I'm sharing whatever I want independently. But if I do not have a technology, I cannot share whatever I want, and I cannot have anything that I use for the references. So the technology is became the tools for my independence. Similarly, as I've already told you, assistive technology can remove 60 to 70% of the barrier of my life, of everybody's life, not only mine. As I was in the teachers' training the day before yesterday, and I'm asking them
to tell the problem that they face during the teaching learning process. I have heard the problem from the 30 teachers who are blind but teaching to the sighted student. They all are giving their own by own problem. I write in my computer, but when we are discussing the way to find the solution of that problem, we also found that 60 to 70% of the problem they face during the teaching process can be solved by using proper assistive technology in appropriate way. Yeah? Similarly, breaks barriers to the accessibility and inclusion. Right? Now we are talking about deafblind people, or we are in the DBI Asia conference. Here, many deafblind friends are also participating in this conference. Yeah, I can say that if we do not have proper assistive technology, how could we ensure their participation? Can we? No. So assistive technology is only tools that breaks the barriers and ensure accessibility and inclusion. Yeah. So next slide. Investment in assistive technology has significant impact. Yeah. We have one international organization called AT Scale. It has published a report. It has published a report, and the report said that providing the assistive technology to all persons with disability and all other needy person could generate over $10 trillion US dollars in 55 years. Isn't it interesting? Providing assistive technology to all could generate 10 trillion US dollar in over 55 years. Then now let's remember, many people, especially in developing countries, are lived without assistive technology, or they do not access assistive technology. Then remember, how much money does our government lost due to not giving assistive technology? Yeah. Similarly, I don't know what will happen in the other country, but here in Nepal, the government provide social security allowance to especially old age citizenship, persons with disability, and other different groups. But if assistive technology are given to the persons with disability, they can earn themselves. So does government needs to spend money for social security allowances? No. So government have to provide assistive technology to all the persons with disability for making them a productive citizen rather than giving them social allowances. Right? Okay. Then now I have forms of assistive technology. In this forms of technology, the technology is as different as the disability, like visual, hearing devices, the magnifier and other devices for the visual disability, mobility aids like speech recognition, optical character recognition. These are the forms of assistive technology. Now I'll move forward to the next slide. Transforming the life. Yes, as I've told that assistive technology can change the life of persons with disability. How? By enabling in education, employment and daily activities. Similarly, now I'm talking to you confidently. I'm presenting in front of you confidently. Why? Because I have an assistive technology. And I can read, I can hear, I can read, and I can remember if I have any confusion. I can go through my assistive technology. So, this enhanced confidence, self-reliance and inclusivity. That is the benefit of using assistive technology. Similarly, especially like the developing countries like Nepal, the persons with disability are left behind the mainstream of the government. I want to share you the story of Gandaki province itself. As I'm working, as I'm serving as a general secretary here. The indicator of human development index are very high because the tourism capital is Pokhara, is here in Pokhara. There are a lot of historical places, and also many people are in the foreign military services in the foreign country. Due to that, the indicators of human development index is very high. But the condition of persons with disabilities is very, very, very backward. So, and I think providing them assistive technology and empowering them, we can uplift the life of persons with disability, and we can move forward into the mainstream of development. So the thing, what I want to say is, assistive technology can ensure individual with visual disability not left behind from the mainstream of development. So, future of assistive technology. As I told, assistive technology, we are in the age of era, and the technology is developing rapidly, day by day, night by night. So in the future, growth in artificial intelligence, smart devices and wearable technology. Yeah, that is the future of assistive technology. Similarly, now we have, out of this hall, we have many stalls. The assistive technology that are shown in the stalls are really, really amazing. I want to buy it, but I don't have proper money, or I cannot afford that. But in the future, this condition will not remain anymore. Increasing affordability and user friendliness will be the future for assistive technology. Similarly, we have continuous innovation for more inclusive society. In the future, for making more inclusive society, various different types of more advanced assistive technology will be innovated. In the conclusion, again, I want to say that assistive technology is a bridge to dignity and independence for persons with disability. And just we have to invest and innovate to ensure an inclusive future. And again, technology is not just about convenience, it's about making the life possible. So thank you very much.
Deafblind, and I come from Indonesia. And their presentation is on innovating adaptive technology to enhance. This is the wrong one. It is innovating technology. Yes. Sorry. It's a long term. Innovating adaptive tools to enhancing life skills of children with deafblindness. Okay, thank you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Tuti Hendrawati. I'm from Indonesia. I'm working for Perkin School for the Blind. Perkin School for the Blind has a campus in USA and has international department that allow us to reach 49 countries around the world. Today, I'm presenting my work in developing assistive devices in enhanced life of the blindness. My co-presenter is Deafblind Palma, based in Philippines. Unfortunately, she is unable to join me today. So, alat bantu modifikasi dapat meningkatkan kemandirian anak dengan tunanetra dan tunarungu. Did anybody understand me? Only one, and she is my friend from Indonesia. Go to next slide. So, how do you feel when I'm talking bahasa? Nobody understand me, and maybe some of you will leave this room. And this is the same with children with deafblindness. Despite their disability, we want to make sure that people with disability is able to engage and participate in daily life just like everyone else. And my presentation today is about being creative in ways on how we can enhance the life of children with disabilities. As you know, many children with deafblind also have additional disabilities. The example I will show you today are those who have physical and motor challenges on top of their sensory loss. Children with deafblindness face many barriers in daily life activities. They need special tools and technology to participate and avoid feeling frustrated and bored. Next slide, please. I will show you a video. Above the pictures. This is a video of Marcel using egg crackers. Marcel, who has cerebral palsy, seemed to have a new life when his teacher succeeded in creating a tool for him. Next slide, please. What is adaptive tools? Anyone can create, can be high-tech or low-tech. Often we think that what is meant by adaptive tools must be something fancy, expensive, and technologically sophisticated. In reality, they are simple equipment that does not require expensive costs, does not need to be good, and must have technological sophistication. Next slide, please. In the picture, Bella prepares bread dough with a whisk that is simply tied with a cloth to a simple wooden pole, which makes the whisk stable. Typically, Bella has hard times use both her hands to hold the whisk properly. Bella is a child who really loves to bake and has high enthusiasm for baking. Unfortunately, Bella has movement barriers which result in uncontrolled movements. With the modification tool, Bella can finally participate actively in various activities and how this modification tool has changed Bella's life. Next slide, please. Marcel loves banana bread. When he was involved in the activity of making banana bread, Marcel was very enthusiastic. With egg crackers, Marcel could crack eggs independently. From Marcel's success in breaking eggs, other abilities increased significantly in various activities with various tools. This is a modified knife and additional spring at the end of the knife, which make it easier for people with disabilities to be independent when using the knife. In the picture, you can see previously Marcel had difficulty handling the knife. Then with this modified knife, Marcel can easily cut bananas independently. Next slide, please. And this is modified head pointers that make it easier for Bella in academics. The pointer is simply made from a used antenne with the addition of a headband. Bella has no intellectual barriers. Her academic abilities are very good. With head pointers, Bella's abilities have increased significantly. Bella is now even part of the finance department of the business unit in an organization in Indonesia. Next slide, please. And this is modified toilet, was made for a child with deafblindness and flat-foot. This child's name is Neneng. By this modified toilet, Neneng can independently feel her way and crawl to use the toilet on her own. Next slide. And can you play the video? The teacher in Bella's class made every effort to make Bella's modification tool needs in various activities, including vocational activities. Bella has a modified soap bar cutter, which makes it easier for her to carry out her task of cutting soap bars before selling them. And next slide, please. Many times, teachers and parents are stuck. They don't have ideas on how to have children participate in activities. People forget that with little creativity and little effort, they can make simple tools that will change the life of the children. We create this modification tool because we realize how important it is for the children's participation in daily routines. When we provide good access instantly, we have changed their life. Lastly, everyone can make tools, including you. Set aside a moment of your time, determine which student will need behind, what kind of tools will be made, carry out an assessment, create the tools, and of course the final stage of the process is evaluation and monitoring, as well as developing of the type, form, and function of the tool themselves. On the slide, a list of questions that for you to consider when you are making adaptive tools. But the most important thing to remember are these. First, think the child and what child needs to do. Second, focus on the strengths and interests of the child. What can the child already do? And three, customize or create your tools. Always think about if they need the tools or not. Sometimes it's not the tools, it's just the strategy. The last thing about the strategy and routine of how you teach the child to do the activity with the tool. Please remember the modified toilets. Toilet modification can actually be said not just a tool, but more of the strategy on how to make easier for children to become independent in their daily routines. Thank you so much, and I do apologize for my English is my